Hello, everybody. You're welcome to the complimentary session for persons that would love to catch up with some of the things that was done recently on the hands-on training on geospatial modeling of public health data. My name is Hayamfulu Alabitu. I am a Nigerian. I'm based in Russia. I work with the Federal Research Center for Translational and Fundamental Medicine in Novosibirsk, Russia. I'm a bioinformatician. So let me just go straight to what I would love to share. This section is so as to help people that has hard time catching up with R and Co. And they're really part of the geospatial modeling of public health data. This is not in any way meant to replace what we have going on, or the main training you need to have in geospatial training modeling, just something that's going to actually help us. We'll be guiding us through a practical step-by-step section design for public health professionals, epidemiologists, biologists, GIS beginners, policymakers, researchers in biology that are actually interested in incorporating geospatial modeling and to their own research and so on. So basically, anyone that wants to learn how to visualize and analyze spatial design in health data can actually, has a lot of things to gain from what we have to do today. We'll start from the very beginning, installing R, RStudio, and required libraries. We'll go to downloading the DHS data and the shapefiles. We'll go to loading and exploring the spatial data, merging epidemiological indicators to map, producing thematic maps through R and geospatial packages. I will be sharing my screen, and I have some downloaded data, but I'm going to show us where those data we actually downloaded from, and what you can actually do about it. So I will also open some of the files so that we can actually see it and we can understand what is also inside. So I believe you are already set, and let's get going. All right. So I'm going to share my screen now. Feel free to ask questions, and let's get started. I believe we can all see my screen. So it's very, very important to actually note that we'll start from downloading from R, and like you can actually see here, this a page of R. Look at the website here, and here you can actually decide what type of computer you have, if it's a Linux, Mac OS, or OS, or Windows. I'm actually using a Windows computer, so I will be taking from the Windows. On selecting download R for Windows, it is going to bring me to this place. I'm actually very, very interested in getting or downloading this particular version. So when I open my another page, you're going to see that. Again, we'll be needing to also download something, a shape file, like I mentioned, from this website, and the website is known as the GADM website. So let me just come back here and go backward. All right. So I'm doing that real quick. I believe you can still see my screen. So like we can see, this says, this site says that GADM provide maps, spatial data for all countries and subdivisions. So you can browse our maps or download the data you want to make your own map. So we'd love to actually make our own map. Remember that we're doing a little of geospatial things. So what do we do here? You come to map, you're going to select your map, Here we can see a number of different map. Here you can see data and co. But we are going to actually come to the GADM data, and here we will come to the data. And for example, for this course, we're going to select Nigeria. I already done it for Nigeria. But because I'm in Russia, I would love to download for Russia. So I'll come here, and here I can see Russia. So what do? I select the shape file that you can see over here. So I'm going to double click that. It's going to get downloaded. Yeah, it's downloading over here, and I'm going to also download the GeoPack package. All right, I'm going to show us what that look like once it's already ready. And like you can see, that is that we all observe that there's a version to this GADM data. Another place that we would also get our data from is from the DHS program, Demographic and Health Survey program. And here they actually have a number of health data. So we'll be able to get that. So there's a link over here. I will be sharing the whole folder of most of what I have here, what I use here. According to ethical reasons, one should actually come and apply to get access to DHS data. For the GADM, you can come here straight away and download. But I already have the data set I'm very, very interested in, just so that you know where you can actually get this data from. So you come here, you apply to get access to the data. If you observe, this is a new user registration form. I can go back to the beginning so that you can see how the site looks like and what manipulations you will need to do to get it. So you can see that methodology, research, and so on. And you can see some of their APIs and co. But if you don't actually know how to get this data, here you can see data, download data sets. You come to download data set, for example, and you can see a number of those data and phases like that. Some of these data sets are actually free, some of them are not free. So you need to just look at that. So as you understand some of what you have. So some of this data, you can see that the data are available over here. GPS data are available, speed data are available, and in some other places those data are not available. So you need to actually know what is available, data available, and you can also access it. But some of this data, for you to be able to access it, still you need to get some permission to actually access those data. Some of them you can just copy it and maybe get across to it. So like we can actually see here, for example, I selected Afghanistan, and to access this SPA data is saying that if you're a registered data user, login. So to gain access to this file, if you are not registered, then you have to go and get registered. And you can see in this other page, this is what you need to do to gain access. So that's that about that. From here, I'll go forward to showing you a page where some of the tools that we will be using is. So gain access to DHS data of interest and the GPS data of interest. And the GPS data of interest, I'm talking about this data, right, that was downloaded from here. And I already have the Russian and the Nigerian version. Just come here and search for N, and you can see that. So you can actually get the map plotted. So that's the country map plotted. So let's go from here and go forward. All right, so I'm going to change my screen. I believe you can still see my screen. So I'm going to change my screen. I'll start sharing something else now. And the next thing I'm going to share now is the window of my entire screen, I believe. So I'm just going to share the window of my entire screen so that you can actually see it. And now we'll be coming to the folder where I saved I saved some of this data. Like you can actually see my data was actually saved here. For the Nigerian data was actually saved here, and that's it. We can unzip it so that we can actually see the content. So I'm going to extract it here, and that's it. Now we have a number of things that you can actually see inside. Before I continue here and talk about this, let me just come back to talk about what I have on this page, okay? With my downloaded data, for example, right? So I have on this page with my downloaded data a number of things. For example, we will be following this instruction that is over here. So this instruction is very important for what we'll be doing today. Then I also have the code snippet that we will also use, and that's also on the, so let me just drag it to the left, and you can also see this to the right. All right, instruction and the code snippet we're going to use real quick. And over here to our left, we can see the code snippet. This one we're going to do that with on the R Studio. And over here, you can also see that the instructions of what we need to do, but there is no issue about that. I'm going to guide us on how and what we need to do. All right. So that being said, I was able to download my R for Windows. All right. I have a R before on my computer. I used my R before, but on my computer. But like you can actually see here, the version for the R on my computer here around this the console here is showing 4.2.1, and it is not able to pick up the version of what I want because I installed this R Studio in 2022. All right, so I'll have to download a new R. All right, and that is what I've done. I downloaded this new R. I'm going to run it now. Run as administrator. I hope it's going to run real fast, and this is it. So I'm going to select next. I want to be very, very conscious about something here so that my destination location will not be far from the previous version. So how do I get my destination location here? I'll come to global option. So what did I do here? How did I get my global option? I went to tools. So I went to tools. Let me cancel this. I went to tools and I came to the global option. And in the global option here, I can see where my previous version was located. So that is in the program files, in so we can see that it was located in the program files. Sorry, give me 1 minute. And like we can see in the program files here, and this is it. So in case I am interested now, I'm going to install it in this same directory. So I can just change it when I'm actually ready, right? So I don't have to delete the previous version because I need to actually move some libraries from the old version to the new version. So, and I've actually done a number of work on this old version. So it would be nice for me to actually move it now. Like you can actually see this on title 70. Can you imagine? If you want to see the number of works I've done here, you can see a number of them. Of course, I did not really give them their right title, but you can see that I actually use R code a lot. So let me stop that and come back here. I'm trying to install this, okay? So over here, we see that it's going to the right place inside the folder R, and that is where I'm going to press my next and next. Please specify yes or no, then click next. So let me just accept default. Then setup will create the program shortcut in the following folder. Yeah, let it just create it there. Then create a quick, yeah. So let's just have that run real quick. Then we would go and switch it once it's ready to the right thing. That being said, our R code is ready and is finished, like you can see on the board, sorry, on the screen. So we have been able to install R Studio, and let's see how to go around and now switch it to the right version that we need. Now I'm going to press change, and I'm going to press choose specific. Now again, look at what I did. Coming to my tool, I'm coming to my global option, and I want to change my R version. Can you see this? So I'm going to press change, and I will come to choose a specific version. And like you can see, I just chose a recent one. I'm going to press OK. So the desktop rendering engine has been changed. Please restart RStudio for these changes to take effect. Okay, so I'm going to press OK. I'll press apply. Do you want to restart in order to make these changes? Yes. Then it's quitting her session and it's going to be restarting the her session. So we have a RStudio that is more like a new one because I had a previous version and now I'm having a new version of the RStudio. The next thing we are going to actually be doing now is that we are going to be installing necessary packages, R packages. And but before we run any geospatial analysis, we need to install a number. Now, like you can actually see here, right? Like you can see here, you can see that the version has actually changed, and that is very, very good. So what we want to do here is that we want to start a new R script. That's a new R script. A new R script should be, I mean, is what we want to actually start with. I cleaned the console so that we can actually start from a clean script. These packages that we're going to be installing, I'm going to show us two ways in which we can actually install it. Okay, one of the best way to actually install packages that you may come to, I mean, you may want to run some codes. I mean, find out these libraries and install it. Okay, and so how do you find your library? You come to your tools, then you select install packages. And when you do that, you start typing in some of these packages that we need. For example, having, we can see over here that one of the packages we need is called having, and that is what we have. And another way in which we can actually install this is to, first of all, install a tool called Pacman. So over here, for example, you may just come here and just find a tool called Pacman. And once you do that, you press enter and you press install. And like you can actually see, it came out like this, right? And we see that it's trying to get Pacman and doing everything that we actually need. And once Pacman is actually ready, you can just start to run it. So like you can see, everything's running and it seems as if Pacman is already where we have it. We want it, right? So like I had, or like I have over here on the screen, you can see that install packages called Pacman, and that was what we can actually see here. We see that this Pacman has actually been installed. You can actually type on this console, all right? You should type after this blue arrow, or you can just run it. You can just come here and install the package. So let me try to show us how to install the package one by one. So let's say we're interested in installing Haven, right? So let me just write Avon here and just run install Avon. So that's Avon running, trying to pick it up, and it's going to be ready in a bit. That's that. And how do we just do a group installation? Pacman is a very, very good way to actually do a group installation. So after we have installed this Pacman, for example, we can just copy this whole length. And we can see here, like I mentioned, I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this this with us, so we can actually copy this whole length of libraries and throw it straight away to the console. So instead of us coming to the tool one after the other, or maybe pasting it, then putting a comma between it, like like what we have here, you can actually do the installation like this in group. So let me do that. Let me do this, for example, so that you can see that you can install them in group. Then the next thing I will also do is to show us how to use Pacman to actually install them in group. So one thing about RStudio is that when those libraries have been installed and you're trying to install them the next time, it's going to tell you that it is found already. So you don't have an issue with that. All right. So you will not have an issue with it once it says that it's found. Let me go from there and go forward. Remember that what we're doing now is that we're trying to install these different applications. I can just drag this all up so that you can see what the console is doing. The console is trying as much as possible to install all those applications. And remember, this was what we called them blue here. So that's what the console is trying to do, is trying to install all of these tools as necessary. And I'm going to mention maybe later on what this tool does, what these tools do. But let us try to focus on how this whole installation is going on. So when it does not find the tool, it tries to find another alternative, and it's trying its best to make sure that some of these things are working well. The other way in which we're going to get this thing done, or let's say download other tools, I hope you remember that we just tried to install the library with commands over here, and that is what is going on, right? The next way in which we're going to try to do this is that we're going to come here to our instruction, and we're going to copy this old Pacman. Yeah, you can go back and see how this Pacman was actually installed, right? You can just type this and place it in the console down here, and it's going to just run. Okay. So this is also the same process that we're going to try to follow, trying to make sure that some of these things actually work. So what we can actually see here is that some files were not downloaded, like you can see here, using the main way, sorry, the main tool over here. And while some files failed, some other files did not work. So we may want to try as much as possible to make sure that we are not discouraged. That's why Pacman was actually recommended as one of the ways in which we can install what we have. So let's just give it some minutes, and we're going to try to install Pacman. With Pacman. So when do we know that this is ready? We're going to see the blue. Remember this blue greater than sign here. Yeah. So once you start ticking that, you would understand that, okay, it's working. All right. If you want to stop this process, for example, you can interrupt R with this red key, and there's a clear console key. So you can use your Control L to actually clear what is going on here. And that is what we have. We saw that some things have been successfully unpacked. For example, this one is showing that, okay, it seems like as if we found what it needed in the subject matter. And we just installed just a bit of what we needed here. I think I stopped here, but let me assume that I haven't installed it individually with the tool here. I'm going to come here now and try to run Pacman so that we can see how it's going to react. Okay, so what do you do once you do that? You don't press enter, you press shift and enter. All right, and once you do that, you see that sorry, you press enter, not shift and enter, and you see that Pacman start to look into it. So he's trying to install this dependency SF here. And once he finds it, or maybe once he observes that, okay, it is present already, you're not going to have an issue. He's going to skip it, and he's going to try as much as possible to see that, or to ensure that what is needed is found. All right. So like you can see, S2 is successfully unpacked. It has been unpacked before, so it's not going to take time for that. And that's the same thing it's going to try to do for others, trying to fix that, making sure that some of these things are actually on ground. So it's trying to find the dependencies and try to install in it, and trying to make sure that some of these things are done. So we're going to do that real quick. I think we already have that. The third, sorry, the next code we're going to run is this code that we can see here, because we will be needing this in the nearest future. This, okay. So we will try to run this code. Yeah, we will try to run this code because we'll be needing this in the nearest future. So this is something we would want to do. So let me just copy this real quick and maybe try to format it so that it is easier to be caught. All right. So let me just do this. Okay. Then I can also run this because I have the yeah. Then I can bring this down. Of course, you can copy it the way you actually see it there, but just trying to do the formatting so that it looks like something we need. Now we don't need this full stop, so let me just remove this and just try to copy this. So if it fails, we may increase the timeout. For example, now if we have this, for example, and it's not going, we can actually even add something more to this. I mean, to what we have here on the screen. We can add something like options, let me write that down. Options, then timeout, yeah, and we'll put the timeout like it equals to 6,000 seconds. So that's actually going to help us to give it a long time in case this inler is actually taking time. So I'm just going to try to minimize this and come back to where we are so that we can see what progress are we making so far. So like we can see here, it's trying to install from the sources. Here you need to select yes so that it can install what it does not have on the system. So that we can see here, you need to understand that for some of these installations, they are not automated. You need to select yes and yes and yes so that you can actually know that the right things are downloaded into what you have and not, and you are agreeing to the terms of installation. So that's tidyverse trying to, I think that's the last part of what we have, trying to, get things right. Others have already been installed. So let's just get tidyverse ready, and we can go into the third layer of the installation. So like I mentioned, the third layer of the installation is installing R and for spatial modeling. Try as much as possible to make sure that your internet is quite fast and smart. And like you can see, the packages for the tidy verse is being unpacked, which is actually a good sign that, okay, we'll soon start using that. All right. So I showed us how to download the DHA data, sorry, the shape files from GADM earlier on, and from DHS I also showed us how to gain access, and I also mentioned that some of these things you need to get it right. So like we saw that tidyverse is installed, and everything's okay, in short. So what do we do next? We try to install the inler. So this is it, and we press our enter. Let's see. It's saying that we have an error because of those indentations. So let me see. So I think this is better. Okay, let me just put everything together, so we don't have any indentations error. Yes, so let me just put everything together so you can see what it actually looks like. So I'm going to press enter now. So you're seeing that there's a particular error here, and the error is caused by this. So whenever you hit errors like this, let me tell you that one thing you can do is that you can just go straight away to Google. You can go to Google and just paste this here. Just drop it there. The AI mode is going to try to look at it and tell you what is not working well, right? So it says the error indicates an issue with the quotation mark. So it's supposed to be a double quotation mark and not a single quotation mark. And which is, then you can just come here and just copy it straight away, okay? The fix. So that you can see how to get across some of this, to get over some of these errors yourself. And you see now that it was trying to tell us that it was not supposed to be a single quotation mark, but a double quotation mark. Now this was done, and now we're pressing enter, and that is running real quick. It's trying to get inler. So it's taking around, well, I may actually take a number of time, but I believe we would be able to make sense of it. So I will come back to this instruction manual now and fix those errors. So if you want the indentation not to give you errors, okay, I'm actually using, so from this point, you want to really properly indent it, you can press an enter key. And after pressing your enter key, you press tab. Then you're not going to get an error. Don't use your space bar, all right? And that's actually one of the reasons why we had the first error. And the other error, we saw that it's not a single parenthesis, sorry, a single quotation mark, but a double quotation mark. All right, after a comma, make sure that you put a space in between, and here is it. I also talked about these options in case you observe that there are timing out. So somewhere up here, I think I saw observe some timing out. So many a times it has 60 seconds to find it. If it does not find it like this, look at this timeout of 6 seconds has reached. It does not actually mean that it did not find it. It just means that your internet is not fast enough to pick it up. So you can actually extend the timeout to even 6,000 seconds, but you need to include that into what we have here. So let me go on from here. I think we have this already ready. Our console tells us that we have everything ready. So says warning installation unable to access this. So it's saying that it's unable to access the repository and so on. It says inline is not available on this version of R. Can you see this? So let me see, install package and try to write inline. Is it able to find inline tools? So I'm going to still copy this error. Of course, it found inline tools, yes, and it's trying to even download the process quickly. But like I mentioned, we'll also like as much as possible to also paste that on Google so that we can look at it and start to understand what is going on here. So it's trying to explain to me what's going on. I mean, we will always have a number of materials or so a number of what we have here. Sometimes try to use AI to also find the answer, because sometimes you can also depend on that. So let me see if I can access ChatGPT and say I got this error on RStudio. But before I write that, I would like to say act as a R code expert and Geo who uses R coding for geospatial research. And that is to help us give it a term or the right position. And I got this error on RStudio. I will paste it now. I got this error on RStudio. Then I put the error inside the bracket after running this code. All right. I'm now going to put the code in a RStudio. Sorry, in a parenthesis, and I'm going to paste in the code that I actually ran. And this is the code that I ran. Yes. Can I? Okay. Why is it so? And can I want to add something real quick from here. And what I want to add from here is the option. Of this option of timeout. Can I modify the above with They are both code. Mhm. With this, in case um, timeout is the reason. Okay, so I'm going to do that. You're going to see the error is not caused by our timing out settings. It means you cannot reach the inland testing repository, so it cannot load. So it's showing us the old part is this, the folder. So I think it's trying to say that something is going on. So you must. So it's trying to explain to us recommendation solution. Current working inland install method is this. The inland team recommends using stable repo instead of testing. So, so it's saying that the timeout is not the issue here, and if you want to use the testing, we should use this, but it's better that we use something that is stable. So that is why we will be coming here and we'll be using something that is stable. So if you want to use testing, and I've copied that now. I'm coming back to my RStudio. We see that something that is there's a feature in the code that we run, and the feature was calling on testing. All right, and not not something permanent. So and it says that if we must use something testing, then or install from source. And if you must use testing, make sure that it is we can add type or type as source. Okay, so let me just change it to stable then and try to run this code again. So I'm bringing it here and I'm actually pasting it. I think you can see the formatting that we actually have here and how the indentation is going. All right, so that was what I was trying to do that time. But now I'm going to press the enter and let's see. Seems as if it has started working. It has started looking for some of these dependencies and code. So it's digging real quick. So we may have to download this dependency, the hard graph V's. Do you want to install from the sources? Yes. So we'll be changing something here from testing. We're going to change it to, like we saw over here. We change it from testing to what? Stable. So we'll be putting it as stable. Okay. So that's that. We'll be updating this code now, so that what you will get is going to be correct. So I think there's that about that. Then I can also kind of change this to, instead of it being dependency at true, I'll change it as type. If it's going to be testing, it should be just type and the source. So let me just come here and put that update. Then I can come here. So you can actually run the first one or the last one, and this should be in this form. All right. I think That is that. So you all troubleshoot to make sure that everything is installed correctly. Inland is the next tools that we're actually installing, and from there we would move forward. Now I'd love to show us something real quick while that is going on. While that's going on, I'd love to come to the GPS data. We downloaded some data for Nigeria, and let me create a folder called Russia. I'm in Russia, so I'll create a folder called Russia, and we downloaded that data from. No, let me come to quick access then. Okay, so that is for Russia. Okay, so this is for Russia. So I can just copy it and take it back to the folder of interest. Okay, so this is it. So this is it. And for the Russia, I'm going to paste the Control V here, right? I love to explain. Okay, unzip this, and here we have these files. These files are called shaped files, right? And let me speak to these files that we can see here while inline is still being installed, right? It's almost ready. So let's just have that quick. Over here, we can see some endings of file, and we can see 0, 1, 2. I mean 0, then 1, then 2. So we can see that for the level 0, the level 0, level 1, level 2 are called boundaries, and these all they're called levels. These levels actually talks about the nature of arrangement of the system, or the nature of arrangement of the map. For example, when you look at a typical map in some countries, we have that they don't have places known as states. They have places known as oblasts. Some of the places is known as a commonwealth. Then when you go on a different level, we have counties and some other places. But in the country that we have here, we have the country known as Nigeria, and like we can actually see here, it has 3 levels. The 0 level stands for the country boundary. The level 1 stands for the state, and the level 2 stands for the local government. Let me speak to this before I go to show us how the Russian system looks like. Over here, for example, we can see that we have some ending. The S, we have the S, the CPG. Let me start from the CPG. So the SHP stands for the main geographic file, like the geometric file. Yeah, and this is what we will actually use in our work. We have the index, we have the attribute table here, the projection interpreter, that's the PRJ, and that's actually one of the lovely things that we want to actually pay attention to here, so that we can understand what we have. But when I move from Nigeria here and I move to the country called Russia, so that we can look at the data, I would be extracting it here. And here we can see that it has 3 levels. So over here we have some independent cities. We have Russia as a whole. We have independent cities. We have regions and some of these other substructures for their map, so that we can actually understand that. Believe we are clear about this. And let me just close this and come back to the R Studio. Hurrah! We are good to go. So now we're going to leave the terminal and we will start programming, because we need to start calling our code and start to run through those code. Okay. I need to start by calling the first code here. And the first code we have here is the library even. Try as much as possible to make sure that your L is in small letter. So let me stop using the instruction and start using the code snippet itself, right? So what I want to do is that I want to call to copy all of this and just paste it at once. Okay. But I'm going to explain it as it goes down. All right, so we have a library called Aven, and we have some other libraries. If you want to know what the Aven library does, you can still go to your GPT. It's actually there to help us get some things clearer. Tell me, what does do? So you're just going to dig deep and start telling us. So it actually helps us to import and export foreign statistical format. Can we say that? So they said social science people uses it a lot. So you can actually look at how they use it. But for us here, we will use it to import our own data. All right. So we have the SF. This SF actually handles vector data. We have the TMAP. The TMAP actually handles one of the things we were going to see there is known as the thematic mapping. Tidyverse, that is actually to manipulate tabular data. The map view will help us to see the map, and that's to visualize the map. But then we also have the leaflet. The leaflet actually helps us to create interactive map. I love to also ask from GPT so that it tells us how about, and how about this library? This library is very, very related to SF, and we see that it's called spatial dependent, and it's used in spatial statistics and econometry. So it creates weighted matrix and spatial autocorrelation and some of these other regression models that we can actually use to measure local and global spatial dependence. So it's a very, very lovely one. And I think it's very, very good for us to know that. So how do we load this data, right? You're going to press your shift and your enter. Or you can just press your shift plus, I said shift, sorry, control and enter. Or you can just press the run button over here, okay? So I'm going to use my control and enter at the same time. Immediately you run it, you see that in your console here, it reflects here. If it reflects with an error, then it means that it did not actually run it, okay? Or you did not actually call or bring in the library. I'm going to also press the control and enter again for the SF, and we see that we're not having an error so far. We're going to continue doing that until the last, okay? Let's control until we get to the tidyverse. All right. I'm going to if you don't want a code to run, for example, right? You put a hashtag that is commenting it out, and you can actually use that to speak to yourself or maybe take note of some particular things. All right. So what we want to do first is that we want to actually first load the administrative boundaries, for example, in the subject matter that we have. So, for example, we'll be focusing on the Nigeria map, especially at level 0 with the Nigerian boundary. We would be able to view our data at this part of the studio. So let me do that real quick and let us see what we have. Okay, so we run this and now we need to load the shape files. All right, so where are my shape files practically? These are my shape file for Nigeria, for example, are inside this folder. They are inside this folder. So what do I have over here? What did I write over here? So let's say I mentioned that we need to pick the SHP folder because that is the shape file that we are very, very interested in. That's the main one, the main geometric file that we're actually interested in. So when you come to properties, you'll be able to see where what is located here, for example. So how do we get the properties? We can see it over here, or you can just copy the foot part. So what I want to do now is that I want to make sure that I'm putting all of this in the folder where is going to be able to pick it all up. So according to what I wrote here, for example, I've actually put the shape file inside the folder called Nigeria. Actually, it was initially not in the folder called Nigeria, so that was how I did that. So let me continue by saying that now I will have to start loading the shape file. I'm going to load the first one, control and enter, and we see that some things are communicated to us here about the shape file. You found it, and it says a simple collection with 2 features. It looks multi-polygon, so it's showing us the shape of something. Then it's showing us x-axis, y-axis, and some of these things. If you want to actually view what was actually done, you may just use your view command, shift, sorry, that will be control and enter. Come to your view here, control and enter, and you see a plot. Sorry, let me see. So we can actually see that it's trying to explain a number of things here to us. So let me try to also run that again so we can see that. Control and enter. Suppose let me run that again, then I think that should show, and now I can view properly. Okay, so that's that. Sorry, where am I? I think I've gone to. Sorry, I mixed something up here, so that you can see. It's very good for one to name his file. If not, it's going to be carried away. So my files are not actually named here, and since I started the whole process, and I need to actually kind of like copy it and start again. So it's not an issue. I have the whole file here, and I hope I did not just close that all down. So I'm going to come back here again. And remember that we started with this old file. So I'll be dragging it all down so you can see it. Okay. So we have that. And we also have this, and we could view this. Okay, so this was where we went to. Okay, so we went here. All right, so that's that. And now, so we saw the file. We could view the file, but we haven't plotted the file. And when we plot the file, we're going to see it here on that plot. All right. So the same thing here. We want to confirm that when I selected view, we saw that level 0 was actually shown here, and I would continue to import the next two levels. So that's control enter, control and enter. We can see that. We can also see this. Now I want to plot the level 0. We can actually see this. Now we see this. So we can see that, okay, this is active and this is also active. That's something about that, active. All right. We want to plot the geometry. Remember that we saw here the geometry of level 0, right? I think we can also test some of these other plots. It will help us. Let me also do this. In case I want to plot level 1, I want to plot level 2, so we can see it on these different levels. Okay, let me just press Shift Enter. Okay, we already did that. Here we can see a number of things are being created, and it will continue like that for level 1, because it's going to try to show us the local government and other things. Can you see this? So it's going to continue finding those other local governments, right? And that's that for that. I think I need to actually close that. Okay, but let me come to level 1 and also press Shift and Enter. So I plot. So we saw that there were some warm-up, some warnings that actually came up, and those warnings are actually speaking the fact that this is going to only show us, let's say, 10, 15, or some of these things, so that we can understand what to expect. So let us try to plot the geometry for 21, line 21, and I believe we're going to have something real quick real soon, but I'm having a little issue here. So like we've actually seen what we have here. I'm coming a little downward. let us try to view this next data that we have here. So this next data, I mean, we've seen this next data. So we can actually view some of this data over here. So let me just close this too. And until you plot, you may not be able to see what you have pop up. All right. I hope I don't have any. Okay, this is the plots. I mean, one of the plots that we had for the whole. I mean, for Nigeria, the ST geometry. Let me close that again and just try to run that again. So on 21 here, you can see I'm going to press Control and Enter here, and we can actually see this. So it's much more detailed, giving us the whole breakdown of Nigeria. So you need to actually study what you want to, or what you would love to share. All right. So I would go forward to explore this next step. I'm going to write a hashtag here, and I'm going to write subset a few local government, LGAS. All right. So we're trying to view a few local government here. I'm going to come back here again and try to view this. And we saw this yesterday. But I can make it all bigger. So yesterday we tried to find a federal. There's a country in Nigeria called Federal Capital Territory. So you can just press Enter here. Federal Capital Territory. It's known as Abuja. So in a polygon here, one will be able to find the place called Federal Capital Territory. It's taking a little time, yeah, but it's going to actually load. And like we can actually see here, we have the federal, and it actually came up. Yes, so it's from 227 to 282. So how did we get here? We got here by running View Nigeria. Okay, the shape field too. So that was how we got here. And it is from here we're running this code, this next code 24, so that we can actually see the subset of a few local governments in Nigeria. So with this few local governments in Nigeria, we want to be able to see them on the on what we actually have, that is on the as a map. So how can we actually see them as a map? We can come here and try to plot. We can try to denominate them, or like assign them some IDs. So for example, now we have been able to identify the, let me write an hashtag here, sign ID. So we have been able to identify the this, this place called, or this map of a place called Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria. We see that there are a number of places over there, number of local governments, or maybe names of places over there. And if you're interested, we want to give these places IDs so that we can actually use them for us. So we allocated it a value called FCT, okay, and that's Federal Capital Territory, and we are also assigning it a value. So all right, so we have been able to create subset of a few LGA. We've been able to assign them ID number. So I'm going to press Ctrl Enter again to line 23. We want to view the ICT, and like what you can see here, we have the ICT table shown here, and when we scroll to the last part there, we're able to create an ID for the ICT. All right, we're back here, and we want to plot the ICT. So remember that we had 6 local governments in the ICT just now. That's local authority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you count it down, you see that there are 6 areas there, and these are the names two, like you can see. And that basis we want to actually view how the ICT looks like. So I'm pressing Control Enter for line 24, and this actually allocated is the ID. And for line 25, we would be plotting it, and we can see this. All right, so this is one. We can see it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 according to that shape, and we will be viewing it again. All right, and what are we viewing again here? We are viewing the whole of Nigeria, not for ICT. All right, because we allocated FCT a value of 6 local government. That's what this part actually means. Okay, that's so. Let's go forward to create a sample epidemiological data. So let me just write sample epidemiological data. All right. So what we'll be doing here is that we'll be trying to simulate disease prevalence in real work or in the real world. And this will come from, let's say, DHS or some other survey. But let's just use what we have here, okay? And what do we have here? We already have something that actually interests us. We are going to create a data frame, then assign the data frame to this variable called DS. They just to create a sample epidemiological data. And we are also like looking at all of, using the ID that we've actually created. We are also creating a case for prevalence and prevalent, let's say, of a particular disease and so on, just for simulation reason. And after that, we would be going ahead. I should also run that, but let me continue this thought pattern. Now, and then after that, we will be going ahead to join this sample epidemiological data to spatial and non-spatial data, for example, right? And if we look at that, this is what we're going to have. So let's just run that. Let us take in the data frame that we have here. I'm back on line 30 now, and I'm just running that. I ran that, let's see, on our terminal. It took it in. That data frame has been registered, but now we want to join to this empty. Remember this empty plotted FCT, we want to join the plot with this spatial data, with this epidemiological data. So that's what we're going to do now, and we are going to actually run. Okay, and we ran that, and we assigned the value of joining them to the word new. Okay, and that's the new variable. Now I'm going to try to view the new. All right, on viewing the new, a new this thing was actually generated, and table was actually generated under new, and not to actually looks special here, but except from the fact that we have prevalence that actually come here, and the geometry for the reference for, I mean, for the different distance are actually seen here. So which actually means that we're actually making progress. And that being said, we will want to color or plot it. So what we have actually done here is that let me just come here and put an hashtag and write that we merged, the prevalence value with the selected LGA. So that was just what we actually did there. And we've just viewed it. Then the next thing we want to do here is that we want to plot the above using Gplot. Okay, so that's what we are going to do now. And don't forget that it's going to be plotting the new year, and I will be using my control and enter to run that. And once I call it with G, it's going to show up something a little much more interesting. And this is what we have. Can be resized. There is an history, it can be resized, but that is what we have. So we can actually visually look at the one that has least prevalence and those one that has more prevalence. So the kind of map we can see there is called it's called a choropleth map. Map, and that map actually helps us to see things with on a different view, because it kind of give life to the prevalence, and we can see that the polygons there are actually filled with the prevalence. Okay, let's go quickly now to plotting using another visualization using visualization tool that we have there called the T map. So we have a visualization tool called the T map. We installed it at the very, very beginning, and now we would love to use it to see what's going on. So the first thing we want to do here is that we want to produce a bubble map. Producing a bubble map. Okay. And we have the code here in line 44. I'm going to just use control and enter to run that quickly. And that is what we have. But okay, that's blue, that's that. All right, so we have this. I want to go on AI to ask is a question. I act as a um, R code expert. I am working on. Yes, can we all see my screen still? So I'm working on a geospatial research. When I run this, I'm going to put the code. How do I view it? So let's just wait for Grok to give us what we may do to view it, for example, now. So we just ran this. We've uploaded the needed library. So if we want to actually display it, then we may have to use print map to view it. Okay, so we may have to use view map to actually view it, because what we actually have here is that we ran the code, but we did not assign it the code. So we did not assign a value to the code. So we have a code without assigning, and it wasn't really I mean, it wasn't really showing. In my own plot plane, for example, I cannot see the code. Oh, it popped out here. So this actually even popped out here. I did not see that. So we see that there's another way in which we can actually do that. So we can actually wait for it to pop out in a pop plane, or we assign it to a particular name. Then once we assign it to a particular name, then we can now use print to get it out. So I just take note of that. All right. So this is without assignment. We saw that it came out as the plot. So my own plot does not pop out here because I did a settings for it to always come out, because sometimes I may not pay attention to it. So once it comes out, I may save it, copy it, do all those kind of things to it. So that's that about that. Then I want to move forward to plotting using so the interactive mapping with leaflet, and I believe that 2 more steps after now, and that's going to be all. So leaflet create the map. So like we can actually see here, we have a code here, and the code's actually working, it's alive. It's necessary to mention that add tiles that we can see here, it had like open street tiles to what we have. So this leaflet, it creates the map. Had tiles, had some open street tiles, then had polygons, calls for let's say the local government on one different level. Then did I talk about PAL? So we have this called PAL, and this PAL actually generates the color scales and helps us to pay attention to it. This PAL helps us create the color scales. Even from this page, you can actually see it, right? For this prevalence, event prevalence. Then adding legend in itself, that actually has legend. We know what legends are. They're like descriptions of what we have there. So let me just do that real quick. I should have a pop-up. I'm using control. I'm on line 50 now on the screen, using control enter and enter, and I think it skipped. So let me come back here and use control enter again here. And we can see that we have something over here. I like for it to open up. So I'm going to select. So there's export. There is view in new window. I like it to view it in new window, and I'm not sure, but that's what you would have. So we can see the prevalence and co, and that's something beautiful. Can you see that? I was even able to, get some areas around it and focus on Abuja. So we can see some other cities, Nasarawa and Co. So I'm going to close this, and this can actually be downloaded. And we can see that this is more, this looks much more interactive than what we used to have. I would continue by saying that that this plot in itself is a very, very lovely one, and it's very, very important for us to get that. Going forward, the last two things I would love to also touch is the plot boundary. Let me write plot boundary. Plot boundary. So how do we add plot boundaries to with different thickness? So this actually will help us to visually, show administrative hierarchy. So for example, going back to the beginning and what we plotted, for example, if it was important for us to look at the thickness of our plots, let me use control enter on line 61. Now we can see that the border of the country here is a little thick. I'm going to change the LWD to 1, and so that you can compare it. I'm going to put on line 61, control and enter, and you should see a different, the difference between what we have there. All right, so that's that. And we'll also run that for line 62 so that you can look at the difference of how it looks like, and the thickness. I believe it's still working on that. I'm going to also do that for line 63. Line 62 is not loading for some reason. Okay, let me see if I had a line, this line to it. I hope it's not the reason why I'm having that issue. So let me just run this now. Oh, I think that's the reason why I'm having the issue. So you want to take note of that, and remove the hard equals to true. Yeah, because it's going to, it's sufficient in itself. So after that, I would round up with this thematic multi-level border layout. And when you want to create a layered administrative map, okay, let me write an extra comment here and say a layered admin map, for example. map. Yes, you want to make sure that it's clean, and the what we would need is um is border still. And let us look at how the end game of what we have here looks like. Okay, so let me just run this quickly. Control and enter, and I believe you can see it. So these are layered. Everyone, sorry. So every of the above boundaries are actually present here, and the borders was also here, and that's what we have. So let me clean this so that we're not distracted. But so this is what we have here as a result of that. So thank you very much everyone for joining. I believe you have gained something from today, because we started by touching an aspect of geospatial epidemiology, where we prepared her for geospatial work. We also try to understand shapefiles, administrative levels, and we try to use a sample of Nigeria map. Then we looked at how to, an instance of geospatial, of integrating health data and spatial data. And then we try to create map and prepare data. Prepare something multi-layered so that we are able to actually use it. So that's going to be all. Leave your questions, and I'm going um, to leave all of um, the resource materials in a Google link where you can actually go there and download. So feel free and ask questions. I will be glad to get back to you. So that's going to be it. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Cheers.